Welcome back, everyone. Hope all is well with you. If this is your first time here, I am Blair Armstrong. I'm Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker, as you can kind of see behind me. I'm a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate located here in the Coachella Valley. For those who don't know what the Coachella Valley is, basically we're located in Palm Springs, California, Palm Desert, California, Indian Wells, California, La Quinta, California, Indio, California. So many different cities inside that. So for the returning guys, over the last couple of weeks, we have been talking to Sean LaRue of Sean LaRue Home Loans over about just different worlds, different programs, different products of mortgages that are out there right now. Today, we're going to peel back the onion a little bit. We're going to talk about VA loans. So just a short amount of time, I'm going to join in with, again, my good friend and colleague and person who I collaborate with on this podcast, Sean LaRue. But again, we're going to talk about VA loans today. So if you find this information necessary, the biggest thing that we ask, since we do not have any advertisers or people that help us grow this program, is we need you to share this show. So grab the link, share it to somebody you thought might need this information. Most of all, give us a comment. Even better yet, share this episode on YouTube or on Instagram, whatever you find your social media. The more information that we can get out there that is true information, the better for us all. We truly want to be a resource for you. So again, strap in. We're going to talk about VA loans today. And if anybody you know, like, or trust wants to hear this information, don't forget to share it. Most of all, subscribe to that channel. So hold on. Let's go ahead and join Sean LaRue. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. If this is your first time here, I'm Blair Armstrong with Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. As you can see behind me, and on my right, possibly your left, I have Sean LaRue of SeanLoans.com, located today in beautiful Arizona. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day to be above ground, man. How are you?
Good, man. How's the baby?
Baby's good. We had a great Mother's Day.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
They grow fast.
Got a good attitude. Yeah, he's almost 6 months.
Can you believe that? How fast that's gone by? I can't believe it. That's why I asked you if you can believe it.
In a blink of an eye, man.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So guys, if this is your first time here, Sean and I did a bunch of podcasts in the past, and if you want to go to Team Armstrong on YouTube, you can find us there. And obviously Sean LaRue, which we'll talk about, he has a YouTube channel as well, but there's some stuff in the past. What we just felt with just to the fluidity of what's going on in the real estate world, not only in my world, which is real estate, and his world of mortgage, there's just been so much fluidity lately. Like, we got to get back on a weekly basis. Let's hit some subjects or some not some subjects, but some topics of what to seem to be never ending, but always have different information as time goes on. So welcome back. If you want to check with us about we're probably going to be every Wednesday. It looks like it's going to be. We'll get these episodes recorded and then we'll get them out to you. But if you like this episode or a past episode, do us a favor, because we do not have sponsors. We do not have paid advertisers on there. And the only way that we can get this message out is if you share it. Besides that, if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button on there, and then you'll get notified when we get a new message out there. But with that being said, man, I want to get in the heart of it. We're about to hit Memorial Day. You and I are both big supporters of the military. My son was in the Army for just a little over 4 years. He was training to be a Cav Scout at Fort Carson in Colorado Springs. Life took him a different way. Every day I talk to him, he wishes that he would stay in. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. What I hear a lot of questions about, especially with newer agents. So if you're a newer agent watching this and you want a little bit more expertise in this, is let's get into VA loans. Let's talk about that a little bit. What's the benefit of those? How do I qualify for those? What are those down payments? So I'm going to kind of give you the platform. I'm going to have a couple of questions as we go on. But let's just get in the meat of it, and let's share with everybody the importance of a loan and how we can qualify for it.
Absolutely. VA loans, I have family members that have that are military veterans as well. My stepdad served. My wife's father served as a medic, and so it's very near and dear to my heart to make sure that our veterans are taken care of and understand their benefits. Um, it's a great loan program. They're very liberal in their underwriting guidelines, and there's a couple of different things we want to break down so that you understand if you're eligible, and you can use this zero down payment program that you should definitely be using if you're a military veteran. So,
Okay.
First up, in order to qualify, you need to meet certain service requirements.
Okay.
Generally, if you're eligible if you've served for a certain period of time in the military, and you'll get a form called a DD-214, which will give your dates and eligibility. And this is for active duty members, veterans, and members of the National Guard and Reserves. So it's a great opportunity to check it out and see if you can use some of those benefits.
Okay. One quick question that I have, obviously being in real estate here, this is going to make sense, is can I use a VA loan if I want to start buying homes for investments, or does it have to be specifically for me if I'm a veteran?
Yes. So one of the underwriting guidelines requires that you occupy the property for at
Okay.
least the first 12 months. So if you have another home already, you don't have to be a first-time buyer, but you
Okay.
have to sign the intent that you're planning on moving into the property and you're going to occupy it with your family. And so that's first and foremost the most important thing, because I've got a lot of clients who ask if they can use those benefits for investment properties or second homes, and it is only for primary residences.
Okay. So I use a VA loan. I purchase the home with that one. I have to live in that home for 12 months. And then if I hear you correctly, after that 12 months, I can go purchase another home with a VA loan. Is that correct?
So with your certificate of eligibility, you have
Okay.
to restore your guarantee. You can qualify for another partial VA benefit on another property, but it really depends on the total loan amount. So the
Okay.
VA is like a government insurance guarantee. And so sometimes, depending on what you're purchasing for that first property, you may not be maxing out the loan amount you can qualify for using your benefits. But
Okay.
I would say typically, if you want to continue to use the zero down payment option, you'll just want to be mindful if you're maxing that out or not. Now, if in the interim of living there, you refinance into a different program and you restore your VA benefit, then yes, if you move out of the property we're talking about that you just bought
Mm-hmm.
and you want to make that one a rental, you can restore your VA benefit and then use it for the next purchase. Um, we've done that a lot on FHA loans and others as well, but I don't want to get that convoluted.
Right.
Typically, you're going to want to pay that VA loan off so you can use it again in the future.
Okay.
The
Okay.
same thing kind of applies if you're a move-up buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you bought a home 3 or 4 years ago and you plan on selling that one and buying another one. You
Mm-hmm.
might have some equity that you'll get from that sale. And if you don't want to put all that money down, then you can use the VA again with zero down in order to qualify for the next purchase. So it's very easy to use, and
Okay.
we're very experienced in helping you get that entitlement restored.
That's awesome. Okay. So you said something back, and it sounds very enticing, but obviously there's some other financial side to this VA loan. And again, some of you guys probably already know this, but just in case you don't, again, if you're looking for information as a realtor or somebody else, zero down payment. Love that word, right? Zero down
Yes, we
payment,
do.
right? But there's got to be other financial aspects to that zero down payment portion of that. So I have zero down. What else? is there any other money that I have to come up with to make this loan? I don't want to call it valid. I'm not coming up with the right words right now, but to help it move forward.
Other than the down payment, what kind of cash are you going to need
Yes.
in order to get it
Yes.
closed? Yeah,
Yes.
so I love the education process with all of this, and the VA actually requires or prohibits buyers from paying certain VA non-allowable fees. So typically, there's about $3,500 worth of fees that
Okay.
you, as the veteran, are not able to contribute towards. It's really great for limiting the amount of cash you need in order to close, but we can structure it either with seller credits or lender credits so that you're not having to come out of pocket with that. But you have your lender, title, and escrow closing fees,
Mm-hmm.
and then the VA does also require impounds or taxes and insurance included in the monthly payment to the bank. So that can be, $5,000 or so for title and escrow and lender fees, and then it's about 3,500 to 4,000 in reserves, depending on the purchase price that you're looking at.
Okay.
So out of that estimated, $8,000 to $9,000, 3,500 to 4,000 of that would be non-allowable to be paid for by the buyer, by the veteran. And so I mean, we can get veterans in if we're structuring this and talking about it the right way up front with as little as $500 out of pocket.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
really, really phenomenal opportunity, and that's kind of where the VA no down, no closing costs comes from. And so there's all different ways to skin a cat, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're here for, is to give you those options and help educate you.
I love that. Okay. So the big thing to do it. So we talked about finances. We obviously talked a little bit about eligibility. One thing that you and I are hearing a lot, excuse me, got a frog in the throat today. One thing that we're hearing about is credit scores. Okay.
Yeah.
Conventional loans, FHAs, I have to have a certain credit score if I'm going to qualify for this loan. Are there any limitations with credit scores that are going to be a detriment to a veteran looking to get a loan?
Sure. Yeah. So VA has a minimum credit score of a 620,
Okay.
which I would think is relatively low. But
Mm-hmm.
if for some reason you're below that mark, I also do free credit rescores. So we can look at your credit report and see what we can do or fix to temporarily bump or permanently bump up your FICO score in order
Mm-hmm.
to qualify. I have a long 20-year history of helping all my borrowers look at that and do the rescores. Um, Typically, if you have more than 30% of your credit card limits, let's say your balances are 30% or more of the limit of your cards,
Mm-hmm.
this is a really great opportunity. Maybe we're not putting all the money down, but we can put that money towards our debt to put you into a better long-term financial
Okay.
situation, especially if those credit cards have really high interest rates right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which,
But not just
okay.
with the FICO score, it really
Right.
goes into credit history as well. So
Yeah.
it's not just score driven. We need to look at the overall credit history to make sure that we don't have any car repos or
Mm-hmm.
anything else that's funky out there.
Okay. Good to know. So, I mean, there's some great information in there that really cleared it up. So, again, we have credit scores. You have to have at least 620. There's multiple different avenues of, depending on who you are and what we can work with, is on what we have to come out with out of pocket. Um, Here's the big thing too, is what I want to go back to is that credit score and how you help reshape that credit to help them not obviously get a. Are there different rates with VA loans? Or is it just all one rate or whatever market rate
Um,
is?
every bank has their own parameters, and
Okay.
I'm I'm a mortgage bank, so we work with about 50 or more banks that offer
Okay.
VA products. And
Okay.
so it's just a combination of FICO score, property type, and some other things that different banks will offer, um, slightly different rates. They're not just set by the government or anything like that. It's a government insured loan, but the banks can either lower their pricing to bring in more business, or maybe they're just not that as competitive as another one. So it really depends on who you work with, who you like working with, and who you trust to get you the best deal. But that's the platform that I'm on, is to make sure that you have as many resources as possible and as many banks competing for your business,
Yeah.
in order to make sure you're getting the best deal.
And out there right now, they're competing.
Yes, we are all competing.
They are competing. So actually
Right.
kind of a really good time to buy, because there's so many different, obviously we're talking about VA loans today, but I mean, really get out there and as Sean just said, is you're working with 50 different banking institutions to go ahead and get you that best product possible that's available at this time, which is just another reason why I've collaborated with Sean over the past couple of years, because he's always has his clients' interest at heart, especially as you just heard at the beginning of this podcast. Um, he has family members. I have family members. There's a lot of interwoven threads, if you may, between Sean and I about how we're really trying to enhance the community we have to. It's not a sales pitch. It's who we are. If you want to peel it back and kind of look through what we've done in the past, go for it. You'll hear the same message over and over again. So again, one more time, I want to go back to this because I find it very important, especially this world. We kind of got out of COVID, a lot of credit issues that are out there. It's not uncommon. You hear it about the news all the time. What I really love about what Sean said a little bit earlier in this is that if you are struggling or you don't have that 620 credit score, but you really wanted, I'm done paying rent, I'm looking to buy a house. I know the market's weird right now, but take some time and go back to this. And we'll say to this about pretty much every episode. If you're not really sure what your credit score is, give Sean a call, reach out to him, and have him look over like, okay, this is what we need to do. And maybe over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months, maybe longer. I don't know how long it normally takes with you. And I'll let you answer that question in about 2 seconds, but it's really
Yeah.
reach out to you and have him start, okay, we need to tweak this. We need to do this. You need to pay this off if you can, or whatever. So what is this? Is there a typical situation? Is there a standard situation, or is every situation different when you're repairing credit?
Every situation's a little bit different. And I mean, you can go on YouTube and search for all these different things, but until you actually speak with, if you're going to meet with a doctor or an attorney or a CPA, they really need to understand what's going on with you, have a relationship with you so that they can develop a plan. And we kind of do the same thing. You don't want to go into escrow and then find out all of this stuff. We call it mortgage planning for a reason, and because if everything's groovy, that's great and there's not a lot to worry about, but at least we've done our homework up front. But if you need a little extra TLC or white glove service, we do that as well, and we call it mortgage planning because sometimes it can take a while to either pay down debt, pay down collections, get something that's reporting incorrectly fixed on your credit report. If you're self-employed, we'll want to take a look at that because, this is a full documentation, qualify off of what you're paying taxes on. So not just for employees, but we can also help you with your business tax returns and posture ourselves. If you're on extension right now and you're self-employed, this is a great opportunity to prep those 23s to make sure everything's jiving right. And typically you'll have until October to do that. But let's make sure we're not putting ourselves in a bunch of stressful positions. We're doing the homework because I rely just as much. I rely on you as the client to provide me with the paperwork we need, because as the doctor, you know in this situation we want to make sure that we're running all the tests, we have all the information, and we're giving you proper advice up front, and we're not
Yeah.
just winging it.
It's also going to put these guys again. I feel like we're going to come in a little bit more of a competitive market for purchasing. It's just talk about the elephant in the room, and interest rates are adjusting. So that being said, is doing what Sean does makes me, when you come to the table, you're very confident with the offer that you know that if you're using me, I'm just using me as an example, but if you're using me and we're going to, and we're like, here's our offer, here's our loan, like everything's in place, nothing's going to come out of left field. And we can come in there super strong, regardless if we're going against a loan person or a cash person. We have all of our ducks in a row to give us the best possible opportunity to purchase that home, especially if it's in a competitive world, which in our area, what I'm in right now in the Coachella Valley, it's kind of seemed to be that way. So a lot of good stuff there, dude.
A lot of
Any
good stuff.
any final thoughts on what we talked about today?
Um, the last thing I want to mention is that the VA loan has no private mortgage insurance, so it will save you a little bit more
Yeah.
monthly if you're not required to pay PMI. It does depend on if you have any veteran disability. So, for our disabled veterans or partially disabled veterans, typically you can save that monthly mortgage insurance just on the VA for the monthly insurance, but also if you have 10% or more disability benefits, you're also getting your funding fees waived. Um, and so the funding fees are based on the disability, first time use, subsequent use, and those numbers all change. So again, it's just really important for you to get with a professional that understands your situation so you're getting accurate information. So
Yeah.
that's the last thing that I'd like to add.
I love
It's
it,
a
man.
great program and it's very aggressive. And it also has some of the best rates in the country for this program. So
What do you feel like, and again, this is more knowledge for me too. I love having conversations like this with you. Is what do you feel that there's enough knowledge about VA loans, or do you think it's just like sometimes presented in a way that it's so daunting that I just rather go conventional?
I love that you brought that up actually. And I was going to talk about it a little bit, but this is a great segue.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I think VA loans kind of have a stigma to them in the
Okay.
market, especially with listing agents that, oh, they're a veteran, it's no money down, they're not going to qualify well, or we don't
Mhm.
have an appraisal gap strategy. And all of that is all circumstantial just based on like what's going on with our loan. I've found recently, and I've heard multiple stories that sellers right now would rather sell to somebody who's planning on occupying the property as a primary residence rather than trying to sell it to a company, corporation, or LLC.
Mhm.
And so when you can find the right seller and find the right property, I think there's still a great opportunity for our VA loans in order to get accepted. And one of the biggest misnomers about it is that we have to ask the seller for closing cost credits, that VA non-allowables are more than $3,500, or just the vague unknown of what the details actually are. And, there are a lot of listing agents that haven't come across a VA loan in the last 4 years. And
Mhm.
so I love to take the opportunity to call the listing agent with our letter, let them know kind of what's going on, what to expect, have the conversation with them, like, what do our comps look like? Do we have an issue with gap, any appraisal gap issues? What would remedy that? What are we prepared to put down a little bit more if we still need 100% financing based on the appraisal? So again, it's all about education and
Mhm.
communication and helping all of our partners in the transaction be prepared for that. And I find that reaching out and having those conversations make the offer a lot stronger, put everybody at ease, and
Yeah.
gets offers accepted.
Yeah. A lot. And what you just said out there too is I always, the different sound bites that stick out to me. There's some really good legwork that you kind of put behind the scenes, behind the curtain, if you may, uh, to making sure that what process that or the house that we may be pursuing is to make sure, as you said, all the ducks are in the row and that we're in a good spot for this. And know before we get too far down the way that if we have to pull out now, we have to pull out now, and we'll go find something else that's a little bit better for us. But at least we know before we get super excited that we're going to make this happen. Is that? pretty much in a
Absolutely. Well,
nutshell.
one of the things I like to do is taking it a step further than just the pre-approval. And I really like to get a full underwriting
Mm,
commitment based on our CIA test, which is
mhm.
credit, income, and assets. We're going to get full last 2 years worth of tax returns, current pay stubs, bank statements, IDs, and a credit report. And more than a pre-approval, we can actually have an underwriter review the file, give us all of our conditions, and then we're almost as good as a 15-day cash close. We would just need our preliminary title report, inspection, and appraisal, and we can expedite that extremely efficiently. So
Okay.
it's worth doing the work because it'll make
Yeah.
you way more competitive and strong when we're
Mhm.
looking to get your offers accepted.
So good. So good. Thank you, brother. I mean, it's just in this world, as I said it too, there's just so many different things that are out there, misinformation or right information, but we don't know if it's right information because there's so much misinformation. So thank you for taking this time with us. Obviously, this week we'll continue to do this then, but some really great information that's in there. We're just probably over a little bit over 20 something minutes. But if you see this and you know that somebody that has some questions about some VA loans, if you're a realtor and want to watch this and you want to share this with your clients, do so. We would love if you, I mean, one of the parts is we're not charging anybody for this. So if you would love to use Sean, that's the way you can pay him back. If you want to use me, it's a way you can pay me back. Not asking for it. You guys can have other realtors. You can have loan officers. We're sharing some information that we thought that really needed to be heard, especially right now. Obviously, coming up to Memorial Day makes it a little bit more special. So, how do I get a hold of Sean LaRue?
You can reach me on my cell at 760-835-5663. You might be seeing this on my YouTube at Sean LaRue Home Loans on YouTube. But just reach out. Even if you have questions and you're not using me, I want to be a resource for the education, answer your questions because, double check the professional that you're working with if you have questions or if something sounds a little bit off. Um, we're here. We love educating you and helping out. Obviously, I'd love to do the loan for you, but that's not my number one goal.
So good. Thank you, brother. All right, guys, we're going to kind of head out of here real quick. Again, you heard how to get a hold of Sean. If you didn't, go ahead and rewind it just real quick and you can hear that part. I'm super easy. Team Armstrong, Coldwell Banker. Plug me into Google. You'll find me. I'm there. My phone number, if you have any questions or you need to get reconnected somehow with another, obviously with Sean, but with another type of resource, 541 206 2590. It's on my website. It's on my YouTube page where I'm really easy to find. So again, we'll have a different topic next week, but this part is in there. Share the show. Give us a comment. And most of all, if you haven't done so, go and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to subscribe to Sean's channel, you know how to do that too. Until we talk to each other next week, guys, really appreciate you. Stay tuned to next week. Stay safe. Most of all, God bless. Take care.